away from the economy, let's focus on agriculture now. Stop food waste for the people and the planet. That's the theme for this year's International Day of Awareness of Food Loss and Waste. The awareness creation is to emphasize the need for the world to take collective action to address the impact of food and waste and ensure availability. Agri scientists believe the initiative will go a long way to eventually reduce the cost of foodstuff on the market in the wake of the global economic challenges. The COVID-19 pandemic and the effect of the Russia-Ukraine war have been identified as key factors accounting for the increasing cost of food in the general situation. According to scientists, again, China and India top the chart in global food waste, and that's about 931 million tons each year. Dr. Stella Jimandria is a research scientist at the Biotechnology and Nuclear Agricultural Institute of the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission. She is leading the awareness this year on the celebration. She joins us via Zoom with some more on today's celebration. I'm wondering what the Ghana situation is. We have a situation where inflation is skyrocketing and it is being driven mainly by food and transport. I'm wondering how much of that is lost to waste.
Yeah, so in Ghana here, the situation is a very difficult one. And the main issue here is the transportation challenges. Aside processing, where the government is intervening with the one district, 1F, with these processing factories all scattered around in the various parts of the country, transportation is one big challenge that we are faced here when it comes to food loss and waste.
And so can you give us an idea of the quantum of how much we are losing with what we are producing already, which appears not to be enough because of these transportation issues and also very expensive for the general population?
Actually, if you look at the sub-Saharan African country generally, we are looking at Africa generally. If you look at the sub-Saharan, we are losing about 223 million tons of food every year to food loss and waste, which is a very huge amount. In Ghana here, we are looking about 37% of this wastage from food loss and food waste. And so it's a very huge challenge, and it is not limited to only vegetables and fruits, but with our staples as well.
Would you say a greater percentage of the 33 you mentioned is as a result of some of these systemic issues? And you initially mentioned transport, which is a major factor. Would you say that contributes to the huge part of the wastage that we are seeing, or is just attitudinal at the individual level?
Well, it is 37%, as I initially said. And it is not only with the transportation system. This is a collective percentage that deals with the transportation, the packaging and processing, the attitudinal aspects, which is as a result of the consumer rejection or rejecting the produce due to aesthetic defects. So all these in all this portion attributes to this level of waste. In looking at the food wastage itself, or food waste, it's about 17% of food waste. And the other 20% is the food loss from producers through to the transportation chain to the consumer level. So it is not limited to just one aspect, but throughout the production chain.
The current war in Ukraine appears to have exacerbated the issue because of a disruption in global food supply chain. What can we do in Ghana in order to mitigate the effect of this?
Yeah, if you look at the Russian-Ukraine war, we get this importation of fertilizers from these countries. And as a result of the war, at a point, the fertilizer importation was not as expected. And the amounts that we were also receiving in the country were very expensive. So we couldn't meet and still we are not able to meet the production demand by these producers. And therefore, in trying to mitigate this challenge, we encourage this at the governmental level or at the local levels that we bring in the production of compost or organic fertilizer. And in this case, we are looking at producing this from unavoidable waste. If you take produce like coconut, cassava, or maize, once you are able to utilize the useful parts, the peels of the coconut, the peels from the maize or the corn, the peels from the cassava and plantain can be channeled into compost production. And in doing so, we are limiting the anthropogenic gases that emit from our landfill sites. So these are the immediate intervention that we can put in place. If you look at currently, the government is trying to find ways and means of getting companies to produce these fertilizers at a very subsidized prices, but that is not enough because of the importation charges, the taxes, the high exchange rate. So in trying to mitigate this challenge, the best we can do is to encourage these farmers or to encourage producers at these levels to incorporate the use of organic fertilizer into the system by producing compost from these waste.
But I guess we can also increase education as far as the domestic level is concerned, so that the little that comes into our homes is also well managed.
Yeah, for the education, we began this at the beginning of the year. We started this campaign. We were in Ashanti region in collaboration with the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, where we went around to the various market centers, sensitizing the people on the media, engaging them on how, at the level of the consumer, it is not really necessary that you buy carrots from the market, you buy tomatoes, and you find some aesthetic defect and you reject them. This may not necessarily mean that they are how do you call it? They are deteriorated.
They are not wholesome?
They aren't. Yes, or deteriorated, no, or unwholesome. So in this case, we encourage consumers that, of course, you should be able to accept the produce, and also the producers and the marketers. It is very important that if you look at this issue, it's more like everybody coming on board, right from the governmental level, the Food and Drugs Authority, making sure that marketers are meeting the quality standards of production.
Right.
And it's not just yes. That is a very key issue that we should tackle. And with that, in our homes, we will be able to reduce this level of waste. And we encourage consumers as well that as you go to the market to buy, you should buy what is needed at that point. If you don't have enough processing material at home, if you don't have a storage facility, if you don't want to break the cold chain to increase microorganism production in your food produce, then you buy in small amounts. When you have these facilities, of course, then we encourage that you do the bulk purchase and you avoid this waste in our homes.
Right. Thank you very much. That's Dr. Stella Ajimanjua, research scientist at the Biotechnology and Nuclear Agricultural Institute at the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission. Very important conversation there. We need to save what we have, make judicious use of food in order to also save ourselves because of the current economic conditions we find ourselves in right now.